there's a lot to be said for knowing what just happened, because I've been in these scenarios before, and feedback from the driver is vitally important. And a lot of times you ask for some feedback and all you get's a blank stare, because they just don't know what the fuck just happened. I mean, I think these guys must black out in there for like 5 seconds or something, because they have no recollection of what happened. They're like, I don't know, man, I let go of the button, shit, next thing you know, parachutes are out. But if you don't know dick about this car, he can tell you anything. I've seen these tuner guys just bullshit their way through, suck up a bunch of money, and then finally you get tired of no results, so you get rid of them, and they're on to the next guy. You're out, you know, 20, 30,000 in cash, and you got nothing. You don't know any more than you did when you started. Hey guys, Tim McAmis. Take a little time tonight to talk to you about self-sufficiency. You know, back when I raced, you know, a long time ago, you could do everything, you could do stuff by yourself. You know, like when I ran my car, I took care of the engine, I tuned it, I did the clutch, I did the transmission ratios, I made all the calls on it. You know, I had guys that would go with me to help do the stuff on the car, tear it apart, fix it, you know, but I did the majority of all of the setup on it. And you know, I've been doing chassis stuff for a long time, so I was always comfortable with that. And engine stuff I've been doing even longer. So I always built my own engines, did my own tuning setup, did everything on the car that I could, because I always believe that it makes you a better racer if you know what's going on in the car. If you know what's going on, you don't have to know everything, but you need to know some things. And in today's age of racing, if you're, you know, the super fast stuff, the super fast pro mod stuff, I mean the really high end stuff, those are sophisticated operations to run. It's hard to do that. It's hard to do everything. It's hard to do it without some help from a tuner, maybe a transmission guy, suspension guy, you might have a chassis guy. You know, it takes a lot of people to do this, but what I see all the time is, you know, most of the time the car owner is the driver, and then he either has you know, some help or some family members or whatever might go with him. You might have a tuner that he pays to come in and help do the tune-up on the engine. But a lot of times I see these guys and they don't take any interest in the car, the setup of anything. And that really to me is a mistake. I mean, you know, when I say self-sufficient, it's really hard today to do everything yourself, to know every part of the car, because there's so much going on in there. But you should have a general knowledge of most of the major things that are happening in the car. So don't just hire that tuner guy and that chassis guy to go in there and set everything up for you, and then you're at the back of the trailer signing autographs and shit while they're getting the car ready, and then it's time for you to make a run, so you jump in the tow vehicle, somebody drives you up to the starting line, the guy's already got the car up there, you get in, do your best to line the thing up straight, hopefully manage a burnout, and stage the car and run it down the track. You get out at the other end, somebody gives you a bottle of water, you get back in the tow vehicle and go back to the trailer. Yeah, well, there's a lot to be said for knowing what just happened, because I've been in these scenarios before, and feedback from the driver is vitally important. A lot of times you ask for some feedback and all you get's a blank stare, because they just don't know what the fuck just happened. They're like, I don't know, man, I let go of the button, shit, next thing you know, parachutes are out. So you should take an interest in what's going on in the chassis and in the setup of the engine and everything. You should know what ratios you got in the transmission. You should know what ratio you got. Anymore, you go out there and ask one of these guys driving these cars, like, hey, what transmission ratios you got? Hey, fuck, they don't know. Somebody else set that shit up. So you'll be a better racer. And I've seen this over and over, because I've been involved with guys that have relied on tuners and people to set everything up for them, and they race just because they wanted to race, they want to be competitive. And they may have lost that tuner or lost that chassis help or something that forced them to take over some of that responsibility. And every time in the end, they were always happier with their racing operation, because they understood what was going on. all of a sudden it just clicked. It's like, hey, all right, I felt this. I knew what was going on because I've been back there and I adjusted it, and I knew this. And you know, you don't have to be a car owner, chassis guru, engine tuner, you know, the end all of drag racing setup guys, okay? But you should be able to get under the back of the car and neutral the preload, maybe put preload in it, set the anti-roll bar, set the wheelie bars, know what the numbers are. Because when things happen on the track, you're in there, you know. The rest of the crew's just watching from the starting line. So when something happens at the 8th mile or 330 or 1,000 feet, it's nice to have some input on what happened, you know, like what did you feel, what just happened. And I mean, sometimes, I mean, I think these guys must black out in there for like 5 seconds or something because they have no recollection of what happened. I mean, zero. It's like, I don't know, man, what just happened? Next thing I knew, I was standing down here at the end of the track. So take an interest in what's going on with your racing operation and be involved, you know, be involved in the changes that are made. So even if you've got to hire a tuner to help you with the fuel injection setup or the engine tuning, you know, there's nothing wrong with asking questions and learning a little bit about what's going on in the car, what changes did we make for this run. Don't just sit back and, you know, eat a cheeseburger and let them do all the work. Because in the end, you'll be so much more satisfied by the results because you know what's going on. And the more you know, the easier it is to find people to help you on the car. So if you got some chassis guy back there and he's jacking around with the suspension and he doesn't know what he's doing, if you know a little bit about it, you should be able to say, hey, I know that ain't right. I mean, you might think you know what you're doing, but I know that shit's wrong. So, but if you don't know dick about this car, he can tell you anything, you know. And I've seen these guys, I've seen these tuner guys just bullshit their way through and suck up a bunch of money, and then finally you get tired of no results, so you get rid of them, and they're on to the next guy. You're out, you know, 20, 30,000 in cash, and you got nothing. You don't know any more than you did when you started. So know what's going on. It's your car. It's your setup. Know what's going on in the back of that thing. Know what, you know how the wheelie bars work, and know how the suspension, at least basic functions of the suspension. I mean, we got videos on all this crap, and I have got hundreds and hundreds of letters and calls from people that knew nothing about their cars, but they watched our videos and they watched how to set the forelink, how to line up the rear end, how to set up the front suspension. And they're just like overly grateful that they had access to that, and they're so happy now because they know how their car works. And they're able to adjust it themselves, and their satisfaction level is through the roof because they did it. They didn't have to rely on somebody, you know, they didn't have to count on somebody like, oh shit, I can't go to the track this weekend because, you know, Billy Bob can't go, so I don't even know how to start this goddamn thing without him there. Well, shit, you should be able to do something, okay? So learn what your car does, learn how it ticks and all the intricacies of how the things are set up. You don't have to know everything, but knowing something is good. It will make you more alert as a driver, and it will make your input back to the crew when the run is done that much more valuable. Instead of just being a empty bowl when you get down there, you'll have some input back and say, hey man, that thing rattled the tire a little bit there, you know, when it shifted into second. And instead of going, I don't know what happened, something's wrong, you know, well, I don't tell you anything, okay? So take some interest in it, and I guarantee you, once you do, you'll start being happier with your race car, you'll enjoy more at the racetrack, and you can't learn enough stuff. I mean, you're only on this rock for, you know, 70, 80 years, something like that. You need to learn as much as you can. So you may know how to run a business back home and make a bunch of money, but if you can do that, you can surely learn how your race car works, and you'll enjoy it so much more. It'll be like a whole new experience because now you know what's happening back there, and you'll see how the car reacts to all these changes. So if you make a slight suspension change, you'll be able to see that reaction and know why it did what it did. So just think about that. Try to be self-sufficient, and you know, in the end, if you got to hire somebody new, you'll be a lot more equipped to interview somebody and know when they're just feeding you a bunch of smoke, or hey, this guy really knows what he's doing because I understand my race car and I know that he understands it, so this might be a good fit. But if you don't know shit about that thing, a guy who works at Walmart can come up and submit his resume, and you're like, oh, goddamn, you worked at Walmart brake department? Yeah, you put brakes on, you must know how to work on this race car. So think about it. Use your time, watch a few videos. You don't have to watch ours. There's some other stuff out there. Ours are better, but you can look around. Learn how this stuff works and enjoy your racing. I'm out. I'll talk to you later.